We welcome now Gregg Harper, former congressman who represented Mississippi's 3rd District. Good to see you there, Congressman.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be in here with you, Gerard. Thanks for the invite.
You bet. So we had a good time up at the RNC.
Oh, we did. What an amazing time it was. My first time to be in that city in Wisconsin, and what a great time it was. We had a great location, as you know. And
we did.
It was a great group, and it was You think back, of course, the convention was amazing. 2 days after being shot, and when President Trump walked into the arena, if there was only one moment I could ever have gone to at a convention, that was the moment. It was just stunning when he walked in. It was electric. It was a moment in time, and God had spared his life, and 2 days later he's walking into the packed arena, and it's something you'll never forget.
No doubt about it. And we kind of at first thought we had a so-so, position there on the floor, but it turned out we had the best position in the whole house.
Prime. Well, Mississippi having a great relationship with Reince Priebus in Wisconsin. Yeah, you knew we were going to be in a great spot. And so right up under the VIP section, and we'd turn around and see Trump and all his folks. I can't remember, was it Idaho that was right behind us maybe?
Maybe right.
That was not a good spot because you couldn't see up. They had us in a really great location.
And I don't know if I ever talked about the Hawaiian delegation.
I know,
directly in front of us. In front of us. And the first day they came in the traditional native Hawaiian attire.
Yeah, it was fun to watch and see everybody. But I had a great time. The food was wonderful. We had some great venues, and so I'm thankful. I'd love to go back one day and be in the same general area we were in the hotel, because
we were fortunate.
The fresh market that was right there, plus the restaurants.
Really neat.
Definitely go back.
Agree. Well, that seems like forever ago today, does it?
Oh my gosh, no kidding.
A lot has transpired, shall we say? Since then.
Yeah, just think about what happened from the Biden. Yeah, it was Biden, right?
Yeah.
He's still the president.
Yeah.
So Biden and Trump's debate, the assassination attempt, our convention, the Democratic coup to replace Biden and Harris, and now we're going through. Who knows? I mean, there's so much time left. Who knows what else we're going to go through over the next period of time? But it's a lot to take in. I never in my adult life of following this do I remember such changes and chaos and confusion and. My goodness, I mean, Biden's, I can't, we may never know exactly what happened, but I'm sure something about the 25th Amendment came up in the discussions people had with him, and it was basically, we can go ahead and get you out right now, or you can have a nice ride into the sunset, and, but it was... And, for them to say that what they're trying to do is to protect America from Trump and his attacks on democracy, and now we got a lady running for president who hadn't gotten a single vote.
Yeah.
Talk about a bypass of democracy. And I just say, do you have no shame on what you say? And when, you were talking just a minute ago about Trump's latest, yesterday, talking about no federal income tax on overtime pay, and she says, well, he's only saying that to trick people into voting for him. And I'm thinking, of all the things you have said over the last, since you became the presumptive and now nominee, every position you've held, you've changed. Well, why'd you do that? Is that you've told us your values haven't changed? So, I just don't think the truth is in the lady.
Well, of course, it all comes down to what amounts to a very small number of voters, and that's what I was talking about, in 5 or 6 states at the most. And so what's so obvious to you and me, of course, and we just shake our head and say, how can you not see through this charade? It really doesn't matter, honestly.
Well, you've heard, look, they've only got 2 issues. They've got hate Trump and abortion. They got nothing else.
That is what they hang their hat on.
They got nothing else. And I read some article that said, well, that somebody was going to vote for Trump, because they like the policies. It's not because they want to invite him as a wedding guest.
Yeah.
And so it was. So no perfect candidate. Everybody's got flaws.
Yeah.
But you look at what's happened. This the debate that they just had. I'm still. feel like I took a standing 8 count just having to watch it. And her facial expressions and the kind of silly stuff, and putting her hand under her chin. I'm thinking, well, have you? Come on, man, don't take us for idiots.
Yeah, that was it was kind of a Karen look to it a bit.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. But when she put her hand up under her chin while you're standing,
yeah, I know.
I mean, I understand if you're at a desk and you do that, but I don't know how you do that standing. And it was it looked very rehearsed, and as we're going through all that.
I agree. So he said this morning, no more debates. What do you think about that?
I don't know that I believe that necessarily. I don't think there'll be another ABC debate. The 3 against 1 is just not really the way that it should be. I don't know. I'll be surprised if they don't have another debate, but I'm okay if they don't.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't know that I want to watch another 90 minutes of facial expressions. So, I mean, we know what Trump believes. I mean, he's been president more so than we have no idea what Kamala Harris believes.
That's the biggest takeaway for me.
It's stunning. And when you see, one of the things that I saw was that she did an ACLU questionnaire back in 2019 that said she supported federal tax dollars being used for transgender care for illegals.
And in prisons, federal prisons.
Yes. And so, I mean, if you get that out, if you can do that, but we don't have really the means to get that out on mainstream, media, ABC and CNN and all the others. MSNBC sure won't be talking about it.
No. And
so we've got, I mean, she has staked out position trying to get, it goes back to when she was running, in 2019, she was trying to stake out a very liberal position to the left of Biden. And now she's not against fracking. You look at any issue, and I think one of the best was when she came out for no tax on tips. Just shortly after Trump did. Yeah. So don't be surprised if she doesn't come out for no taxes on overtime pay.
Yeah, I wonder about that. At this point, she's denounced it. She said it's a desperate attempt, which to your point is, you got to be kidding. That's pot calling the kettle black, of course. You have been using student loan forgiveness and increasing the child tax credit and the child care tax credit and all these sorts of programs that are clearly designed to persuade voters into your camp.
Oh, yeah.
With money, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
And so everything she's done to change her views on whether it's fracking or, now... And what is an opportunity economy?
Still hasn't explained that.
And we watched, as you watched that debate, the most recent one. That was just Tuesday, wasn't it? Wow. Yep. When you watch that, and I really hate to watch a debate and scream at the television. It's just. But the first question to her was, "Are we better off than we were 4 years ago?" She never answered.
Never answered it.
And Trump never responded to and answered it really himself. He went off on some little rabbit chase. I wish, he didn't call and ask for advice, but I wish he had asked the moderator, could you reread that question, please? And then look at her and say, what in the world were you answering?
Yeah.
You didn't answer it because everybody knows we're worse off by far than we were 4 years ago. And just kind of hammered her. I think it would have thrown her off a little bit. And she seemed really, I think, rehearsed so much on what she was doing that she comes across as fake. But, you always miss opportunities in a debate. And you think about after the fact, I wish I'd done this or said that. But I wish he'd hammered her on the failure to answer that very first question.
What do you think about, of course, you know this well, having run for and won public office. What do you think about the fundraising? So in the wake of the debate, she raised $47 million from 600,000 individuals, $361 million raised in August versus Trump's $130 million. Do you read anything into that?
Well, Trump's fundraising has been consistently pretty good. Now, she obviously had a real surge, but she hadn't been on the ticket long. So people are just now giving to her for the first time. I think the money thing, we can do a lot with the money that we've got. I don't think whoever, and I certainly know how that works, being the guy with the least money, you can still win if you use it efficiently.
They bought all the air in the 5 swing states, that's for sure. I don't think there's anything.
Wow, you can't find a slot probably.
We've got, you can hang around for another segment. We got former Congressman Gregg Harper in the Element Well studio. We're coming right back. Back, everyone. We are enjoying a conversation with former Congressman Gregg Harper. So during the break, Greg, you said there was something else about the debate that you wanted to point out.
I remember on the debate, and I'm just sitting there. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but Kamala kind of goes with communist. Kamala Harris accused Trump that if he won, he would weaponize the DOJ to go against his political enemies. And I'm thinking, what a novel idea. I wonder if anybody's ever tried that before. I mean, this is another point of how they have no shame. I mean, they have been doing that. It's really almost like watching presidential contest during reading Animal Farm and George Orwell. I mean, you just can't make some of this stuff up. And again, back to they have no shame, on what they're going to say. So that's one that I shook my head and said, you have got to be kidding me that you're going to accuse him of what you've been doing with your boss for 4 years. Although I don't know if I'd call him her boss because I don't know if he even shows up for work now.
Well, Trump said, let's go wake him up, and we go down to the White House and sign some executive orders to shut the border down. I agree.
That's all you need to do, right? I mean, you didn't need this. That's their excuse is by not doing this so-called bipartisan legislation that you didn't need it.
Right.
I mean, Trump accomplished so much just by being in charge and trying to solve the problem. So the border czar, who she says she wasn't, I mean, she's done nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And it's to the detriment of our country. And like Aurora, Colorado, Mike Kaufman's the mayor there. He and I were classmates in Congress, came in together, is as conservative, as good as you'll find, and he's just, it's just nuts on what they're having to do. And it's dangerous to our citizens. So we got a lot of work to do, and man, we need Trump elected.
So given all these liabilities, all these negatives, I mean, it's to clear-eyed people, it's a no-brainer. Why do you think it's so close?
I think, it's just a part of it's a likability issue, and Trump, a lot of people are offended.
Can't get past that
by him, and they can't look at it. But if they go to the grocery store, they ought to be able to get past it. And I think we're seeing that in a lot. And another thing I've seen is some AARP polling that's been done in some pretty important states on seniors, and they are overwhelmingly, I think, looking for Trump.
Well, especially with the proposal to eliminate the taxation on Social Security benefits.
Unbelievable.
And they vote, too.
Yeah, and these are the ones that are going to show up at a greater percentage. I don't know that the Swifties at age 15 are going to be able to go vote, but I think that, that's a key thing to look at. And I think you summed it up well, in that there's 5, 6, maybe 7 states that will decide this, and within those, there's probably 1 or 2 counties in each one of those states that decide this.
Yeah.
And so you look at Georgia, Atlanta, Fulton County. That's ground zero for Georgia, and so I am pleased that Trump and Governor Kemp, at least publicly, have buried that, which Kemp's done nobody has a better grassroots organization than Governor Kemp.
Yeah.
It's tops. And if he is a little more motivated to help Trump, which he appears to be now, I think that's a key thing there. So you got to have North Carolina. Virginia, still looks like it's going to go to the Dems, but Governor Youngkin is working, and so we'll see how it shakes out. Again, I'll say that this is the high water mark right now for Kamala. Rhymes with communist, at least on that initial sound, Harris.
It's Erie and Luzerne counties in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
Are the big ones. Maricopa County, of course, in Arizona. So.
Well, I heard some interesting data, like in Bucks County, which is the most expensive real estate in America, was in 2020 was plus 15,000 on Democrats. It's now in a plus number for Republicans.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of good things you're not hearing about on voter registration in some key places, I think are definitely, helping us. So, this great perception by the media, the love fest for Kamala, how they've already, basically given her the presidency. It's designed to suppress our vote and make us feel, well, there's no real reason to go vote. We've lost. So this thing is not over.
It's orchestrated.
And we've just got to do everything we can to get Trump across the finish line. Not worried about it in Mississippi.
Yeah.
But I do think one thing that I wish the Democrats, I'll give them credit. They have really dug in on the abortion issue, and the Republicans have run from it. We're like afraid to talk about it. And you've heard me say, World War II, we had 405,000 Americans that died. And Civil War, we had 620,000, a little over 1 million total between those two wars. And more than that number were aborted babies in 2023 alone. So we're not, and also there have been more abortions that since Dobbs and the
That's
rate
right.
than there were before.
That's right.
And we've done nothing to say if we don't stand up for the life of that unborn child, who's going to do it? I mean, I wish everybody had to watch an abortion, a voluntary, elective abortion for not rape, incest, or the life of the mother, but just because, hey, I don't want to keep the baby. Watch the procedure, and people would be they'd throw up.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just wish we would just talk a little bit more about the value of human life, and I think that would help instead of running from it. So we are seeing some. U.S. Senator, some of their wives are speaking up about the importance of those children, and so we just need to hold the House, get the White House back, get the Senate, and I know you've seen the recent polling data from the Cook Political Report has now moved Sheehy, the challenger to Tester in Montana, to lean Republican from toss-up. And I don't see how Tester can win again. If we do, we're at 51. If we get Montana, and I'll take 51. I don't have to have 54, 53, 52. Just give me 51. And then we'll have Senator Roger Wicker will be the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and it'll be a big day for America and Mississippi.
Yeah, I saw the same polls. The polls, in fact, or the Cook report, but the polls, in fact, have Sheehy up in the state by 6 to 8 points as well. And that's a state that should be represented by a Republican. I mean, it's a conservative state, 1.2 million people. I was doing some research on that. Some $60 million being spent by the Democrats on that race.
Unbelievable.
Control of the Senate could literally come down to that race.
Absolutely. And so another case where everybody's got to go register to vote. Another thing that I heard was like in states like Pennsylvania and a couple of other states that hunters, the number of hunters not registered to vote was like 30-40%.
Huh.
What? Are you kidding me?
It's a big hunting state, especially the western part of Pennsylvania.
So you would think they would be the very first ones that would be there. So there's a lot of stuff going on our side, I think, to get that vote out. And there's also a lot of folks volunteering to be on the ground in those 6-7 states, in those 12 to 15 counties.
Critical to getting the vote out, more than anything.
Get the vote out and also having eyes there.
Yeah,
so, I did, I was in West Palm Beach, Florida in 2000, legal volunteer for Bush in Ohio in 2004. And you're kind of caught off guard in 2000. You're coming in after the fact. But in Ohio, we were there a week before the election, through the election.
Okay.
And that's what we've got to have this time around, and I hope that the powers that be are doing that. I think they are, but you can't ever leave Fulton County. I mean, you've got to be there ahead of time. You've got to be there every moment, and those are the kind of things you've got to have that. And, of course, the Democrats don't want any type of voter ID.
Right.
You see that in the House. They're going through the SAVE Act, which is just to require identification. So
you're an American citizen to register to vote.
How hard is this?
That's mind-boggling.
But to go to a Harris event, you had to show an ID. So,
multiple credentials, as a matter of fact, or checkpoints to check your credentials.
That's right. So
I agree, and the party leaders seem to be serious about election integrity this cycle. And,
I agree,
and hopefully they'll take care of business there. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. We got less than 2 months remaining, and I said in the last segment that I think the candidates will pretty much be seen almost exclusively in those 5 or 6 states where they're focused.
I absolutely, I agree completely. So we're going to have a fun run here. It'll be certainly one of the more. We always say this is the most important election ever. This one, I think, really is.
It could be because they've gotten so radical.
Yes, and the fact that if they've let in 11, 12 million people,
right?
Well,
right.
We got 3 million here, so they've let in basically 4 Mississippis.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And those will be used against us to control the House in the future because they'll be counted for congressional reapportionment
in the census.
And we've got to figure out a way where that you can't count people that are not U.S. citizens.
Can't get that passed under the current structure of government.
But there's got to be a way.
I agree with you. Greg, always good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for the invite. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. Former Congressman Gregg Harper has been our guest in the Element Wealth studio. We're coming right back. Don't forget, Ben Milam will be with us at 11:20.